1, 2, 3, ho!
Welcome to our property management wrap up for the month, and today we are joined by a very special guest. We are joined by Enver, who is the Director of Oz Group Finance, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what's happening in the mortgage market. Thanks for joining us today, Enver. There's been a lot of talk about how first home buyers will be able to purchase a property by using only a 5% deposit. Are you able to tell us a bit more about how this will work?
Absolutely, Damien. So the first home guarantee scheme allows buyers to purchase a property with just a 5% deposit, as long as they're an Australian citizen or permanent resident of Australia, of course. So at the moment, Damien, the first home guarantee allows first home buyers to purchase their first property with just a 5% deposit, but there's actually income caps. So if you're a single applicant, you can purchase a property with as long as your income is $125,000 a year or less. And if you're a couple, you can purchase a property as long as your income is $200,000 or less. So it's actually been out for about 5 years, but there's been a lot of hype around it since the Labor government got elected again. So now what they're doing is they're removing income caps completely. So whether you're earning $100,000 a year or $500,000 a year, as long as you've got that 5% deposit plus the stamp duty, you're eligible to go under the first home guarantee scheme.
Okay, and are there any cap prices when it comes to purchasing?
Absolutely. So at the moment, Victoria's capped at $800,000. Come October 1st, which is only in 2 days, that will increase to $950,000. A big thing that the government has brought out is New South Wales. So Sydney has gone from $900,000 all the way up to 1.5 mil.
Wow.
So the cap has dramatically increased there because property prices have gone up so quickly. A lot of people don't understand that it's 5% plus stamp duty. So if you're purchasing a property for anything more than $600,000, then you need to come up with a 5% deposit and the stamp duty costs involved as well.
So stamp duty is not paid for anything up to $600,000, so they'll just need the 5% deposit at that level, which would be $30,000. But anything above that, you'd have to pay the portion of the stamp duty as well. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah. So at the moment in Victoria, if it's $600,000 or less, you only need a $30,000 deposit,
Wow.
plus the conveyancing costs, of course. We account for about $2,000 for that. Anything from $600,000 to $750,000, you'll get some type of concession from the government, so you get a discount of stamp duty. But anything from $750,000 and above, then you need to come up with the full stamp duty cost.
Wow.
A lot of people need to understand also, Damien, that the government's not just going to gift you the loan of just say $570,000 for a $600,000 property. You need to be able to service those mortgages. So whether you're earning 50 grand or 100 grand, there still needs to be some type of serviceability test.
Okay.
What we're finding at the moment is single applicants are struggling to get into the market.
Yes.
So they'll have to pair up with a family member or a friend or their spouse to get into the market.
Okay. So you'd be able to get one of your friends, you might be at university, for example, instead of renting individually, you might be able to service a mortgage together.
Correct.
And then you'll have your accommodation for the next 4 years and an asset that will increase in value.
Absolutely. So I use me and my friend as an example. We're at university together, renting. We had the deposit but didn't have the serviceability.
Yep.
We could have then just purchased a property with a 5% deposit,
Yeah.
and in 3 to 4 years' time potentially sell the asset,
Yes.
and then look at moving on and purchasing our own place. So Damien, how do you think this will affect the property market under the first home guarantee scheme?
It's a good question. Normally what we see with rebates such as this or incentives such as this is we see the rebate get capitalised into the purchase price. So pretty much that means that any extra money that the purchasers are getting, the property market will increase by that level anyway. So typically what we see is that the people that take advantage of this scheme early on will see the greatest advantage because the property prices won't increase straight away. But if this scheme continues for the next 12 months or into the future, we'll just see property prices increase.
Damien, I completely agree. So I think it's first in, best dressed. That's going to definitely benefit from this scheme. A lot of people just try to, I guess, save that money as opposed to just getting into the market straight away. The problem with that is if you try to save, then you're going to be saving for a lot longer. While property prices increase, your deposit also needs to increase. So people really need to understand that.
There's a lot of talk from economists that they believe the Melbourne market may increase by 10% between now and over the next 12 months, which means that you'd have to save 10% extra on your savings for the deposit as well. So you become chasing your tackle.
Absolutely. So as soon as you've got the deposit gathered, you've got the income to service the loan, the sooner you do it, the sooner you will benefit. And you're not just watching the property market go up, you're actually in the market.
What other ways can a buyer get into the property market without needing a full deposit?
So it's a really interesting question, Damien. this security guarantor process has been out for a very long time, where customers can essentially borrow 100% plus stamp duty for the property price,
Yes.
as long as their family member can offer a security as a guarantee to service the loan. So if you look at purchasing a property for $800,000, for example, the bank will allow you to borrow $850,000, which will cover 100% of the purchase cost plus the stamp duty fees in order to settle on your property. Another way you could potentially purchase a property, if you can't do it yourself, definitely team up with a family member or a friend or your spouse and then get into the market together. Because I think the days are gone where you can potentially purchase a property on your own. You kind of need to just adapt to the market and just purchase with somebody else.
Understood. And with the guarantor loans, what happens if the purchaser of the property defaults?
So if the purchaser defaults, then the guarantor has a limited liability against that property. So let's just take a $600,000 property, for example, and the borrower's borrowed 100% of that property with no stamp duty costs. The guarantor is only liable for up to 20% of that property, not the full $600,000. So I think people need to understand how a security guarantor works and get financial advice when appropriate, just to understand the risks involved.
So it sounds like there is a risk for the guarantor, but it's probably not as high as people expect it to be.
Absolutely, yeah. So a lot of people understand that it's 100% of the debt.
Yes.
But they call it a limited liability guarantee for a reason, because they're only limited to up to 20% of that property.
Okay, interesting.
So Damien, with all this happening within the market, the first home guarantee, property prices going up, how are people going to enter the market with all this going on?
It's a good question. I've been in real estate for about 17 years now, so quite a long time. We do see a lot of people getting finance from the bank of mum and dad. That seems to be becoming more and more common as property prices do creep up and up. The other way is intergenerational wealth. So people having family members that pass away, they get gifted a bunch of money from an inheritance. A lot of people are using that inheritance money as a deposit to get into the property market too, which is probably not a bad way to spend it as opposed to going on holidays.
Absolutely.
So currently in the marketplace, first home buyers are spending on average about $615,000 on their property, but we are starting to see first home buyers spending $1 million, sometimes in the low $1 million as well for the first home too. So it's not a bad place to start as a first home buyer these days.
Absolutely, yeah. I think I'm seeing that a lot at the moment as well, where as soon as they reach that $600,000 mark, if there's a good property on the market, they'll try to buy within their means and just try not to over leverage themselves, which I think is a very good strategy to do so.
I know when I bought my first property many years ago, they had the first home buyers grant up to $600,000, and I guess I had champagne taste and beer budget at the time, but I realised that once you go over that $600,000, you get more value because there's less competition up to that level. So we ended up spending a lot more than $600,000, but we ended up in a property that is capitalised in value at a better rate than a $600,000 property would have back then.
Yeah, I think you've just reaped the rewards. You've taken the risk, and obviously it's paid off for you, Damien. So congratulations to you, mate.
Thank you.
The barrier to enter the property market now is so slim,
Yeah.
where people only need a 5% deposit. They don't pay lender's mortgage insurance.
Yeah.
Yes, they need to pay some type of stamp duty, but it's concessional up to $750,000.
Yeah.
So I think while this is out, they should take advantage of it, because the government can pull the pin whenever they like and potentially bring something else out that's going to disadvantage the buyers.
Okay.
So
Yep.
I think it is a buyer's market.
Yep.
It's just come out, so take advantage of it while you can, because the property prices, I don't have a crystal ball, but I think it's going to go up in value.
So Amber, you've been in banking for about a decade now. How have you seen the barriers of entry change over that time for buyers getting into the property market?
Very good question, Damien. So when I first started banking, first home buyers had to pay the full amount of stamp duty. They had to come up with at least a 10% deposit. Yes, the security guarantor option was available back then, but as time progressed, they brought out the first home guarantee scheme, no lender's mortgage insurance involved. Now they're getting rid of the income caps for first home buyers, which is even a better option for clients, so they can actually purchase their first property irregardless of what their income is. They earn $100,000 a year or $500,000 a year. They can get into their first home with just a 5% deposit plus stamp duty. Yes, it's going to be a burden at the start because the repayments are going to be so much, but I think buyers need to not over leverage themselves and then buy within their means to then hopefully get a capital growth in their property and then start investing in more property if they wish.
Use the equity to leverage out of their
Principal place of residence. Leverage their equity out of the principal place of residence to then purchase more property to hopefully have long-term wealth.
Yes, yep, sounds good.
Yep.
Thank you for joining us today, Emma, for our monthly wrap-up video. It's been great to have you. You've offered some really good insights into the first home buyer scheme that's coming out. And if any of our clients need any help, they know who to call.
It's always a pleasure, Damien. Thanks so much for your time,
so
mate.
much.
Thank you.